With no further questions, we'll move on to Rob LaGrange, and he'll be presenting about a brand new product called TerraVue and the new foundation for tree, brush, and broadleaf weed control. You're on, sir.
All right, good morning. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen, so give me just a second. What do we see here? Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, we see you're not seeing the presentation mode, right? You're seeing the actual slides?
You in the slides, looks good.
All right, cool, I'll get started then. All right, good morning, everyone. So my name is Rob LaGrange. I'm the territory manager for pasture and land management business for Corteva Agriscience. I do want to mention, I do have my contact info here on the front slide. And I'll mention it a couple more times throughout the presentation, but have your phone ready and take a snap of that. I also want to mention the two sites in the bottom right corner of this slide here. So our vegetation ngmt.com has a lot of information. All the information that I'll be talking about today will be on this website. And then also for any of you that might be on the Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter at the handle at Corteva ngmt.com. So with that, I'll get started. So for those of you that have been at this conference over the past few years, you've probably met or seen me speak at this conference, or you've talked to me on the phone, or you've received emails from me. But in case you haven't, I'll give you a quick rundown of myself. So again, territory manager, pasture land management for Western Oregon, Washington, as well as Alaska. I am originally from Indiana, so I have a bachelor in chemistry from U of I. I also interned at Dow Agriscience as a chemist while I was at U of I. I also have my master's in ag econ from Purdue. I started my career in Indiana with Co-Alliance, a small, well, I guess they're not too small, but an ag retailer in Indiana for a few years before coming back to Dow Agrisciences in 2013 on the row crop side. And with them, I worked in North Dakota, Minnesota before moving to the Southeast, also in the row crops until 2017, when I came to the Pacific Northwest and transitioned to the pasture and land management side. Also mentioned I've been in the Marine Corps Reserves for 6 years, and for those of you that haven't heard from me in the past year, that's because I actually just got back from employment. So eager to get back and speak with all of you and get back in the business of working with you all. So quick note on me. So today I'm going to talk about, as Jerry mentioned, TerraVue, but I can't talk to the Washington Veg Management Association Weed Conference without mentioning Vastlan. So I'm going to throw that in there as well, and then I'll give you a quick update on some territory changes that just took place this past month. So TerraVue, what is TerraVue? TerraVue is basically the newest land management herbicide for Corteva. And again, there's our website that will have a lot of information on TerraVue, and hopefully some of you have received some emails from me on TerraVue. It is now registered in Oregon, Washington, or Idaho. I'm not sure where all we have folks coming from. It is not currently registered in California, but it will be soon. But it is registered for Oregon and Washington. So what is it? What is TerraVue? Again, it's the land management herbicide for Corteva Agriscience, labeled for annual and perennial broadleaf and brush control. So TerraVue is 2 active ingredients, aminopyrrolid and Rinskor. So we're familiar with aminopyrrolid, which is the active ingredient in Milestone. But what we did was we took Milestone and we added a brand new active ingredient called Rinskor. So what is Rinskor? Rinskor is a brand new active ingredient. It is a new aryl-picolinate herbicide from Corteva. The common name is fluorpyroxafen benzyl, and is actually the second member of the aryl-picolinate chemistry. The first was actually Aralex, also an active ingredient by Corteva that's used in the rice industry and on the crop side. Mode of action for Rinskor is a synthetic auxin, so it is another group 4. However, it is unique because it binds preferentially to different auxin receptors as compared to the other group 4s like 2,4-D or MCPA. And overall, members of this family, the aryl-picolinate family, they demonstrate novel and differentiated characteristics in terms of the rate, the spectrum, the weed symptoms, how it acts in the environment, and also, I wanted to mention, I have this on the list here, that Rinskor Active received the 2018 Green Chemistry Award. I feel like that's an often overlooked and very prestigious award, in that we have an herbicide active ingredient that actually helps protect the public health and the environment overall. That is something that Corteva is very proud of, and especially with this product, I'm very excited to have this as an offering in our industry that has received a Green Chemistry Award. So TerraVue is a aminopyrrolid and Rinskor. So looking at some of the product attributes, TerraVue itself is a water dispersible granule dry formulation. It is flexible application methods, compatible vast different tape mix partners. It can be applied broadcast, aerial or ground, foliar, IPT, and then all the different brush and woody species type of applications. It's a low use rate, so 2 to 2.85 ounces is our go-to application rate for TerraVue. But as Jerry mentioned, we do have on the label total vegetation control or bare ground application up to 5.7 ounces. And what that provides is, so the 2.85 ounce rate will give you the 7 ounce of Milestone plus Rinskor active, and then the 5.7 ounces of TerraVue, basically a 2x rate of aminopyrrolid plus the 2x of Rinskor, that will give us such a great increased control on much more, a broader list of weeds that it controls. So also it's non-restricted, doesn't contain 2,4-D or dicamba. It's practically non-volatile. It's in the practically non-volatile category, which is the best you can get. And then it is low odor and safe on grass. So what do we get with TerraVue? What does Rinskor in this new product, what does it bring to the table? So improved broad spectrum control. So we're going to get, with the Rinskor, we're going to get extended broadleaf weed control over Milestone, and then increased activity on hard to control weeds. Comparing to just aminopyrrolid, we're almost doubling the number of weeds that we're going to control with TerraVue. And then enhanced control on certain woody species. So looking at specifics, basically TerraVue is going to control even the high stress weeds like the ones we have here that other products miss. So like I said, there's over 140 key weeds targeted in the spectrum, including brush species. But looking at this list here, the pictures that we have here, TerraVue is going to be the new standard for wild carrot, poison hemlock, the plantain species, mullein, that Rinskor. This is what Rinskor is bringing to the table. So looking at TerraVue compared to Milestone on some of these tough to control weeds, we have knapweed, Canada thistle, plantains, wild carrot, poison hemlock. We see that the 2.85 ounces of TerraVue compared to 7 ounces of Milestone, and we see the difference there, the improvement of control that TerraVue brings to the table over Milestone. Looking at time and application, so I'll run through these fairly quickly. These are also all on the label, but just for your situational awareness. We do have obviously ground broadcast applications. Applications greater than 10 GPA are preferred, and then aerial, looking at that 3 to 5 GPA range. You have high volume foliar application, again at 2.85 ounces, and then the total veg control, spot application, bare ground application, we can 2x that rate up to 5.7 ounces per year with TerraVue. Looking at woody plant control, so as I've mentioned, TerraVue does have activity on some woody plant species and can be used alone. However, for the best woody plant control, we want to add in that Vastlan or the Garlon 4 Ultra. That will be our go-to application on brush and broadleaf applications, is if we're going to use TerraVue to spike it in with some Vastlan or Garlon 4 Ultra. So the use sites, we have all the non-crop areas, natural areas, wildlife habitat, management areas, electric power and utility right-of-ways, roadsides, other non-crop areas, and then including grazed areas in and around these sites. Again, revert to the label for the full list of labeled use sites. Looking at adjuvants, so NIS or MSO is recommended. So the NIS, your non-ionic surfactant, or the methylated seed oil. And then looking at blends, so right now there are no list of blends that are not approved. There's no list of tank mixes that are not approved. We are still running through the list, but as of right now, everything looks to be approved to be tank mixed. And we are working on the continuum type of blends with EcoPack or AccuMix, and they are currently in the process of developing a list of those blends that are recommended on that side. Looking at packaging for TerraVue. So here's the packaging that we have. We have 6 by 1.1 pounds, the 4 by 4.4 pounds, and then 2 by 10 pounds. So the purpose of these package sizes was basically to help with the efficiencies in measuring. So that 1.1 pound bottle will treat about 6 acres at that 2.85 ounce rate. And one container into a 100 gallons of water makes your low volume foliar rate of 0.33%. And then as you can read there, 4.4 pounds will treat 25 acres, and then the 10 pounds is about 56 acres. So looking at some of the results of some trials that we did this past year, here we have curly dot control, looking at about a month after treatment. On the right side, you can see TerraVue at 2.85 ounces, having good control of curly dock compared to untreated. Here we have common mullein control about a month after treatment with, again, TerraVue at 2.85 ounces. And then here's your common mullein a year after treatment. TerraVue on the right, 2.85 ounces compared to untreated on the left. And this last one here, I do have our TVC or our total bare ground application trowel. In this picture, we have 5.7 ounces of TerraVue, 64 ounces of Clean Trax, and then 64 ounces of Accord XRT, which is our glyphosate. And you can see that perfect square there, perfect rectangle, having excellent stink wort control. And you can see all the other species of grass and broadleaves that we have there that we're controlling, keeping out over 100 days after application. So next couple slides, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but you might have received some emails from me on TerraVue and also another product called Duracor, or you might hear about it, from in the industry. You might hear about Duracor, but I wanted to just spend a couple, maybe a minute or so talking about what Duracor is, just so there's no confusion. Duracor and TerraVue are basically the same thing. They have the same two active ingredients, aminopyrrolid and Rinskor. The difference is that Duracor is our aminopyrrolid and Rinskor product for the pasture side. So you can see there, we have a rangeofpasture.com. That is where you'll find all the information on Duracor. So again, Duracor and TerraVue, basically the same thing. It's just that Duracor is our product for the pasture side. A little bit about Duracor. So it is an SC formulation and compatible with multiple tank mix partners, made to mix well with UAN, and it is and we can mix with dry fertilizer impregnation. And labeled use sites for Duracor: rangeland, grass pastures, grass grown for hay, the CRP and non-cropland areas. Again, if you're familiar with Milestone or Graze on Next or Chaparral, Duracor will have the same restrictions in terms of haying and the aminopyrrolid restrictions on haying with those products. So Duracor and TerraVue both have those same restrictions. So that's all I wanted to say on Duracor. Again, you can go to rangeofpasture.com to get more information if you are operating on the range and pasture business segment. However, working in the industrial vegetation management business, TerraVue is going to be the go-to aminopyrrolid and Rinskor product. Moving on, I'm going to transition over to talking about the Choline Technology. So again, if you've been to this meeting in the past few years, probably even longer than that, when my predecessor was here talking about Choline Technology, you've been introduced to the Choline Technology and you've seen it probably in action. But I'm going to continue to bring it up and talk about it and continue to hammer it out because we don't practice until we get it right. We practice until we can't get it wrong. So looking at the Choline Technology, a few things to point out. It's not quite as new anymore, but it's still just as innovative with its new formulation. Not like your traditional 2,4-D and triclopyr products. It's not an ester and it's not an amine. It is the choline formulation of triclopyr and 2,4-D. The Choline Technology, getting near zero volatility and reduced odor. I want to bring up the term near zero volatility because you might recognize, the standard grouping of practically non-volatile. However, we're going to go a step further and say that even within that category, this Choline Technology is going to near zero volatility. This is, for me, working in the Willamette Valley, particularly important with the visibility of our applications and the volatility and reduced odor piece with Choline Technology. It's particularly important in the Pacific Northwest and those types of applications. Looking specifically at Vastlan, so Vastlan is our triclopyr choline product. It is a 4-pound triclopyr choline. So, if you worked with Crossbow or Garland 3A, Garland 4 Ultra, all of those. 4 Ultra has a 4-pound ester. Garland 3A is a 3-pound amine. Crossbow has 1 pound of triclopyr ester. They're all the same mode of action, that group 4 auxin. But looking at the concentration of Vastlan, 4-pound triclopyr choline, when compared to Crossbow, you could use up to 50% less product because you have 4 pounds of triclopyr versus just the 1 pound of ester in Crossbow. And then not to mention the volatility and odor aspect. So near zero volatility, it's in the practically non-volatile category, but these choline formulations are over 90% less volatile than your amines. Bottom line with Vastlan, it's the new standard for foliar. Well, let's take out new. It is the standard for foliar applications. It is the most flexible. It's high load with the 4-pound triclopyr choline-based formulation, improved safety and environmental profile. Let's compare it to Crossbow. Again, 4 pounds triclopyr choline versus just the 1 pound of triclopyr ester. Crossbow does also have 2 pounds of 2,4-D ester. Vastlan, you just need waterproof gloves and mixing. However, the Crossbow, according to the label, you need chemical resistant gloves and an apron. Vastlan non-flammable versus the requirement of having sprinklers overhead for storage. Grazing restrictions, there are no grazing restrictions with Vastlan. Your generic amines, your Crossbows, they all have grazing restrictions specifically for lactating and dairy. And then odor. We don't need to talk about what Crossbow smells like. We all know it's terrible. And if you haven't opened up a jug of Vastlan, I'm telling you now, as somebody who has, it is seriously low odor. It's not something you'd be expecting from a tractor product. And then again, practically non-volatile, it's near zero volatility, and then expanded label use sites. So Vastlan is does have an aquatic label, so it is approved for use in aquatic sites. So let's looking at some recommendations here, some tank mixes. Just looking at brush and broadleaf. So we talked about TerraVue. So Vastlan and TerraVue is definitely probably my go-to brush and broadleaf recommendation. So 2 to 4 quarts of Vastlan and then the 2.85 ounces of TerraVue. We can also mix it in with some open site if we want that S-corp piece. And then looking at the aquatic and sensitive site applications, Vastlan plus Freelex. So Vastlan, Freelex, the 2 choline formulations of Tricopure and 2,4-D, both have aquatic labels and are the best for use in sensitive areas. So again, looking at aquatic applications, so aquatic grass, brush, and broadleaf applications, Vastlan, and then Rodeo. So Rodeo is our aquatic approved glyphosate. So today we talked about the loose strives and the phragmites. So or phragmites, we're definitely definitely recommend Vastlan and Rodeo if we're looking at Tricopures and glyphosates. Looking at Vastlan and Rodeo. And then this past year, became aware of a new program that I think is our go-to program for 2020, and I think is a very effective treatment, and it's easy to remember, and that's why I like it. So we're calling it the 3-2-1 program, or I guess you could say 3-2-1-3 or 3-3-2-1, however you want to say it, but mostly let's just go with 3-2-1 of 3% Accord XRT, 2% Vastlan, and then 1% Imazapure with 3% of MSO. So some of the presentations today, we've talked about glyphosate and Tricopure, and very similar mixes is what I'm showing here, and definitely Imazapure as well. But this is, I think, an easy to remember and go-to brush application of 3-2-1. See my timer, still good. Real quick on some volatility. So many of you have probably seen these slides before. We looking at testing the volatility of amines, esters, and choline formulation of Tricopure, and pushing them to the limit to see just how much volatility and damage from duct volatility we can get. So we sprayed 3 rows of ryegrass with the ester, the amine, and then the choline, and we introduced some very susceptible crops of grapes and tomatoes. Put them in a greenhouse in the humidome here, treated with the treated ryegrass all together in humidome, pulled the air through this humidome through some vent holes for 24 hours at over 100 degrees. So definitely pushing the limits of this Tricopure and looking at the damage due to volatility. What we found, looking at the amines, amines showed a little bit less damage due to volatility than the esters. But look at the choline there. So technically, choline and amine are in the same volatility group, but practically non-volatile. However, you can see by our results here that it's in a league of its own, that it's not just practically non-volatile, it is near zero volatility. Same thing with the tomatoes. So amines are showing a little bit less damage due to volatility than the esters, and then the cholines, again, near zero. So what did this look like? So we have 10 days after exposure for grapes and tomatoes with the ester. So you can see the esters on the left side there, and then a non-treated in the picture with it. You can see that the ester is definitely causing some damage due to volatility. And then here's the amine 11 days after exposure. again, same thing, definitely seeing some damage due to volatility. And here's the choline formulation. So as you can see, same test, much different results. So we're seeing near zero volatility, near zero damage due to volatility with the choline formulation. So you can see the importance of using something like this in the Pacific Northwest, specifically in the Valley, where we have such a diverse array of crops and sites and sensitive areas that we really can't stress enough the importance of using something that has the safety of the choline formulation. So I'm right at about 5 minutes left. Last thing I have is to look at the territory, some changes to the territory. So if you've worked with me in the past, you see that I had covered Washington, the entire states of Oregon and Washington, and then Alaska, if you're up there. Changes starting October 1st. This is my new territory. The green is the cover is if you live in those green counties, I am still your rep. However, if you're living in the blue, we have the rep who was to my east, Trent Brousseau, is now taking over Eastern Washington and Oregon. So I am now what I consider the Cascades West territory manager for pasture and land management. And then basically Eastern Oregon and Washington, we have Trent Brousseau. And on the next slide, I have his information. So you can take a quick snap there of Trent's information. Again, I'm the territory manager for Cascades West in Alaska. And then Trent Brousseau, who had previously covered Idaho and Montana, is now covering Eastern Oregon and Washington, and then the entire states of Idaho, Nevada, and Utah. And with that, I appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you all. Take a snap of my information, and I think I have actually about 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, if there's any questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple for you. Is TerraVue labeled for forestry use?
Not yet. So it is, we are in the process of working on some special local needs or adding it to our label. We're doing extensive testing right now. So we are looking at that opportunity. I do see it coming in the future. It will be.
And then a similar question, is it approved, aquatic approved?
TerraVue is approved up to the water's edge. So our aquatic herbicides, we have Vastlan, Freelex, and Rodeo. But TerraVue, just like the other imidacloprid products, is just labeled up to the water's edge.
Okay, and the last one that I'll hit you with here is, when does TerraVue and/or Duracor persist in the environment? When does it start breaking down?
Okay, so I'd have to dig into the SDS for that one. But if you got my information there, shoot me a text afterwards, and I'll dig into the actual, I guess the LD50 and all of that. We can look at the MSDS. Not sure off the top of my head.
Thank you, sir.
Is that it?
Yes, thank you, Rob. Good job.
Thanks.
Appreciate everything, all the information.